all the way from New Jersey. And David Fink not only recruits people from Chicago, he recruits people from New Jersey. It helps that Deborah is also a cousin of David. But that's not why you're here. All right, everybody. Deborah Goldstein is co-producer of the North Jersey Listen to Your Mother show, a national spoken word event showcasing original stories about motherhood. She sits on the board of the North Jersey Pride and writes a medley of miscellany on her humorous blog, Peaches and Coconut. We're thrilled that she's here in Chicago. Deborah lives in South Orange, New Jersey with her lady spouse and 2 man children. Please welcome Deborah Goldstein.
At dinner time that, thanks to Alan, thank you, that it's the first day of World Breastfeeding Week. So if you could just turn to the person to your right.
Works for me.
No, but actually, today is a special day. It's actually my 8th wedding anniversary. Canadian wedding anniversary, to be precise, to my lady spouse, Gabriella. Anniversary, if you didn't know, coming from the Latin word anus versus. So, I looked it up, this is true. So, versus meaning turning to anus, which when I first read it, I thought said to the rear because anus. And then I thought that not everybody's into that, so I double checked. And it's year. So we were married in Canada in 2009, but our Canadian wedding was not our first rodeo, or as the French Canadians say, rodeo. French for you Latin and French, I'm here to teach. We've been domestically partnered, civil unionized, Canadian wed. We signed a ketubah in England, which means a rabbi marries you with a British accent. And we were federally married in New Jersey. Our journey, like that of many, has been a series of baby steps to get to the place where we all are now. Gabriella and I met in 1994. So you'll remember that there was no OkCupid or Tinder, and we actually had to do things besides swipe left and right. We had to go places and meet people, like bars or women's bookstores or intramural softball games. They were dark, dark days. In 1994, I was sporting a bowl haircut that I would painstakingly dry underneath, curl under to achieve some sort of mushroom effect. And I also had just enough upper lip hair to channel Freddie Prinze and Chico and the Man. So hot. I actually don't know what Gabriella saw in me, to be honest. She had recently moved to Chicago from New York. She was way too cool for school, and she definitely stood out amongst a sea of chinos and sweater sets. Her boss worked out of the New York office, so she was a department of one, and she made her own rules, and she made her own dress code. She would strut down the halls in her t-shirts and jeans, her wild, long hair flying behind her. And being from Queens, she wore her jeans so tight that she didn't have to open her mouth to give anyone lip. She was a total radical chick. I was out loud and proud, but she was straight. She thought she was straight. She came to this country at the age of 5 with her family from the hills of Sicily. her mother and father were in their 40s, her sisters were already married and they had children, and she had resigned herself to marrying a man and only letting her future husband feast on her manicotti. I too was raised with traditional values. I came from an observant Jewish home where homosexuality did not exist. My mother is a feminine hairdresser, Frank, who wore cowboy boots, black cowboy boots, under his red leather pants with his black, tight, ribbed knit tank top stretched over his slender but sculpted chest was just eccentric. My parents' biggest fear was that I'd marry a non-Jew. My mother would say to me, never date a Gentile. They'll tell you they accept you and they love you, and one day in the heat of an argument, they'll turn around and they'll call you a dirty Jew. Well, I didn't realize, and she didn't realize, that all I would have to do to be rejected as a Jew is wave a Jewish star at the Chicago Dyke March. Too soon? About our traditional backgrounds that drew us together, though she could have just been into Freddie Prinze. I introduced Gabriella to the enchanted world of sweet, nectared lesbian love, and she introduced me to Jolan hair bleach. We moved to London in 1999 for Gabriella's job, and that's when Gabriella's Italian citizenship really helped, because she was a member of the European Union. So they extended work visas to spouses, except we weren't allowed to get married. It wasn't legal. Well, the UK thought, well, that's not fair, because that's exactly what they would have said here. They said, we can't double discriminate, so you're going to get a visa, but you're going to have to prove to us that you're just as married as other people. So we had to go through a lot. We had to provide photographs that documented our lives together. We had to have affidavits from friends who said that they knew us as a couple. We had to show bank statements. We had to perform oral sex in front of the we had to a climax at the same time. Very challenging, because I tend to take my time. We got married in 2001 in London. It was the happiest day of our lives, having friends and family there to celebrate our commitment to each other. We were as married as we were ever going to be, and no federal court could tell us otherwise. And then it was 2009. We were living in New Jersey with our two boys, at the time 6 and 3. President Obama, he hadn't quite evolved. And in May of that year, the California Supreme Court upheld Proposition 8, which eliminated the right of same-sex couples to marry. Some people blamed the Mormons and the National Organization for Marriage. Some people blamed apathetic population for not turning up to vote. I blamed NBC for canceling Will and Grace. But out of the ashes rises the phoenix, right? Prop 8 was the final straw that chafed the camel's toe. Progressives rallied, whereas most of us accepted that we might never see the day when we could benefit from the same legal and economic rights as our straight couples. We all started to believe in the possibility and the necessity of marriage equality. That year, we took a road trip to Canada to visit friends. We loaded up the minivan with lots of electronic devices to prevent our children from talking to us. And we head out for our 10-hour drive. Now, Canada had extended marriage to the gays in 2005, 1 year, I might add, prior to canceling Will and Grace. During the long drive, we were in constant communication with our Canadian friends, and somewhere between New Jersey and Niagara Falls, it occurred to us that the U.S. might recognize an international marriage before they started extending rights to everybody at home. So we got our marriage license in Niagara Falls, and we were married the next day, barefoot on our friend's day. It was beautiful. The kids had no idea what was going on. They were into their sparklers and cake, and as far as they were concerned, we were already married. And then marriage arrived in New Jersey in October 2013, in spite of our equality cock-blocking Governor Chris Christie. We have a few blurry photos of the trip to town hall to sign a few papers, no ring exchanges, no vows, no champagne, but for as low-key as it was, we were amazed that we had made it to this day, that marriage had finally come. I guess what parenthood has provided us is a healthy dose of perspective, which I feel like we all need during these times. The more often we say, back in our day, the more we realize how far we've come. In 1994, Amazon only sold books. I met a straight girl who was never going to marry a woman, and marriage equality was a fantasy, kind of like, I don't know, a woman president. But no path to equality is ever straightforward. Most of the time we take one step forward and 2 steps back. And I know that right now it seems that we've been, instead of 2 steps back, we've been catapulted down an entire staircase and down into a deep, dark hole. And normally, I wouldn't mind an injection into a deep, dark hole. But having kids forces you to focus on your own family and friends and find joy in the accomplishments and celebration within your community. I take great pride in the fact that my lady spouse and I are raising our man children to be mensches, which is Jewish for young men who will use their privilege to stand up for what's right. And never forget to put the seatbelt on. So proud of our kids, the 13-year-old who now sports his own Chico and the Man stash, and the 10-year-old who may just be a budding show queen. The apples don't fall far from the tree. And they know that no matter what letter of the LGBTQIAAP-2 spirit community they might choose, they'll be accepted and loved, unlike the environment in which the 2 of us have grown. They also know that because the journey to equality is slow and the trajectory is not always upwards, you've got to take pleasure in all the joys of life, even the small steps. And for that reason, I'm grateful that Gabrielle and I were given the gift to recommit to each other year after year. So on this day, on my Canadian wedding anniversary, I say to my lady spouse, oh, I'm going to cry. That was unexpected. Loving you is easy because you're beautiful. And I'd versus the anus with you again and again.